This edition of the tackle. It is a Tuesday of 14th December 2021. Tarehe 14 mwezi wa 12 mwaka 2021. There's actually 10 days to Christmas. 10 days to Christmas, and you can already see what's happening in Nairobi. I think people are beginning already to exit. Watoto pia wanafunga shule hii wiki. So children are going home. They'll be home with you as they prepare for Christmas. Another Tuesday edition of the State of the Nation edition of the 14th December 2021. Karibuni tena. As usual, I request that when you join in, please like. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us, and that will like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to wide broadcast. This tackle begins now. Tuko na Peter AMUNGA, jamaa wa NC Party, na pia tuko na Solomon KURIA, chairman Jubilee Youth League. Naenda kuangazia mambo ya Jamhuri Day. Looking back at Jamhuri Day, the events of Jamhuri Day and what happened thereof. Been a convention around Jamhuri Day. The move by the president as well to break out the breach the protocol by inviting Raila Odinga to speak after him and say hello to the people. Some people have actually tried to interpret it politically that it is an endorsement, a follow-up endorsement from what happened in Nakuru as well, where the president endorsed Raila Odinga. There's all a conversation that the presidency could be going for Musalia Mudavadi. I don't know how true that is, but we keep guessing. If there's one thing Uhuru has managed to do for the last 4 years, he has managed to keep us guessing. We keep guessing every time. We wonder what his next move will be. But as usual, I request that please when you join in, like, when you like, we get to know that you're watching us. And not like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. This is the tackle, and it begins now. Kama kaida, tena mbele za Mungu tuombe, alafu tukirudi basi na kuja kuwapa salamu zenu. Mighty Father, we come before you this morning. We worship you, glorify your name. Thank you for another opportunity to be alive. We thank you for this conversation that we are about to have made edify the fabric of this country. We pray, trusting and believing. Amen and amen. Haya, wacha nilipe madeni haraka upesi ndio kuja niwape salamu zenu. Maridadi Motors wanakupa nafasi ya kuweza kuagiza gari kwa bei nafuu zaidi. When you import directly with Maridadi Motors, you get to save up to 300,000 Kenyan shillings. There's no deal that you can get anywhere else. And also, if you want to invest, you can invest your money for a chance to earn up to 15% returns on your investment. You will get up to 15% returns on your investment for every money that you put at Maridadi Motors Import to Sell Model Maridadi Driving Academy, as well as giving you an opportunity to be the best driver in town. Pia, mambo yako pia kama wewe ni mtu wa sacco, you can save there. We in time to encourage the saving culture. You can save a Maridadi Motor Sacco where you get to save for 2 reasons. You are saving for a unit, you save up to 50% of the total value of the unit, and also if you are saving as an investment, you can save pesa yako alafu unaweza kupata pia 15% returns on your money. Haya pia Rex Roofing nakupa nafasi ya kuhakikisha kwamba nyumba yako inakaa shwari zaidi. Rex Roofing nakupa nafasi ya kuweza kuhakikisha nyumba yako inakaa shwari zaidi. Roofing materials from Rex Roofing Solutions, quality roofing shingles, stone coated tiles, na pia UPVC water harvesting gutters. If you're also doing a flat roof, or if you don't want to waterproof your house, you can use a waterproofing solutions from Rex Roofing. We're still extending 10% discount on all our roofing, on all our waterproofing solutions from Rex Roofing. Kwa hivyo kimbia pale www.rexroofing.com uweze kupata offers zako zaidi, na pia kimbia pale Disquare Eldoret, waambia dandana kupe discount yangu, alafu uweze kupata mng'aro zaidi ya Christmas. Go Christmas lazima upate pale kwa dandana. Haya, asante sana. Acha nione Haji yule Roju anasema morning, good morning to you Karoki wa Masi, good morning, I'm falling from Kayole. Langat Geoffrey, good morning GB, good morning to you. Rebecca AMUNGA, greetings to you watching from Riara Spring Girls. Sana Shemeji, good morning to you. Mzee ameshafika hapa lakini kama kuna mafua kidogo. Anda Kiblangat Eric, greeting watching from Nakuru. Elvis KW, good morning from Wiben. Alampanle Naso watching live from Baringo Marigat Sub County. Elvis KW, like and share. Asante sana ndugu yangu, please like and share. Like and share. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us, and that way, like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to wide the broadcast. Elvis QW, Sholim Kibet Benachi, good morning GB. Nasema 65 shared for me. Thank you so much, my brother Elvis QW, for ensuring that you share broadcast this morning. Please like and share, share. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us, and that way, like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to wide the broadcast. It is a tackle and begins now. Moses Kamo Bishop anasema good morning to you. Kibet Duncan, good morning from Eldoret. Asante sana. Aya, AMUNGA.
Yes sir.
Good morning boy.
Morning, mlembe mno.
Mlembe boss.
Mlembe handi.
Habari yako?
Nabalam.
Yawa?
I'm well.
Have you been?
Yes, I've been okay. We are following events in this country. What we are sure is that Kenya are in for big surprises. The president once said, the person I will show you or will be the next president. It will surprise many. So all these other signs, drama, razzmatazz, mara Azimio, mara what, Jubilee, those are just things that the president knows very well. That's not where his direction is. He told us it will surprise everyone. He told them in Sagana. And I'm happy we are here with a Jubilee guy who will also tell us that, who will confirm what I'm saying. That the president said the person who will take over leadership in this country will surprise many. That person is Musalia Mudavadi, of course.
Okay. You guys are waiting for endorsements. Soon. Good to hear. Yeah. Solomon Kuria, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you?
Gerard.
Yeah,
it has been a while.
Tupotelea sana.
Ni kukimbizana na maneno.
Ulikuwa unapanga serikali.
Hapana. Kwanza unapanga maisha yako before upange serikali. Serikali ina wenyewe.
Serikali ni kubwa, haipangiki.
Haipangiki.
And somebody try to shake the government is like you're shaking a mugumo tree.
Yes.
It's only
kama ndovu, ukipatiwa maini peke yake huwezi maliza.
Haya, tuambie habari ya siku mingi.
Niko salama. But I've been following your show.
I appreciate
it. Inaenda vizuri sana.
Asante.
My friend, like I told you the other time, tutakuja hapa in the next dispensation. Maybe it will be a TV.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, you know.
Amen. Rudia maneno kabisa.
Kabisa, you know.
Your mother ni mzuri.
I always wish my fellow young people well. When I see you doing well, I always, know that I can count on you at some point.
Thank you, my brother.
Serikali iko imara. Chama cha Jubilee kiko imara. Hata kama wengine wanaigiza baridi kidogo ati NDC iliahirishwa.
Kuliendaje na NDC?
Kuahirishwa sio when you postpone something doesn't mean there's a difference between postponing and cancelling. There was no cancellation of the event. It is still going to come. Now I would like to tell the aspirants to still remain hopeful and optimistic about the party. It's coming back. And they will really have a good vehicle to use in 2022, August 9th.
So what happened to the NDC?
The NDC was just postponed because I believe the State of the Nation address is more important from where I sit, more important than anything else, because it is an evaluation of what the government has been able to achieve since 2013. It is our time we get to look at the scorecard of the president we have had for the last 9 years. It is a time for the president who doubles up as the party leader, Jubilee, to really tell us, how much he has been able to do for us compared to the manifesto he gave to us. So with all the considerations done, I believe the State of the Nation address outweighed the Jubilee Party NDC.
But that doesn't mean that the party organs does not communicate with the presidency, with the party leader, because the party leader knew the State of the Nation address was coming up. During the planning and decision on the date, was that not discussed?
These are normal adjustments that happen any time.
Okay.
We also saw the Azimio La Umoja being postponed by a day. So these things come up. They come up. The State of the Nation address could have been planned, but the date not issued. But maybe it was supposed to happen in the month of November. But the date had not been issued. So when the date was issued, therefore, and remember also, you are a journalist. You know,
Yes.
Good news lasts for about 9 days. Or you really, if you have to have some good news, you must make sure that they last for at least 9 days. So there was no point holding an NDC, then State of the Nation, would have watered down everything that would have been communicated.
So then this is coming.
So it is coming.
What were some of the agendas that were supposed to feature in the NDC?
Of course, that is left to the delegates. It's a discussion that will happen with the delegates, and they will come up. You cannot start preempting or, like coaching or directing them on what to say or to do. It is up to them to tell us what they decide. Yes.
All right. Why do you think the NDC was cancelled?
Of course, our brother from Jubilee, KURIA, is not telling us the truth. He's evading the question. The reason why it was cancelled, it was discovered majority of delegates in the NDC who are from the UDA team. Most of them are, Jubilee is dead. That's the truth of the matter. It died some time back. So most of the delegates who are going to come to that meeting were actually UDA members. And they were coming there to vote out all these fellows, even including the party leader actually the story came, the information that we received is that there was a lot of worry that the NDC was going to overthrow the entire party leadership of the Jubilee, starting with people like Murathe and although that time Tuju had a funeral, he had just lost his mother. All those fellows were going to be swept out. And the new, because NDC comes sometime with elections, you know, the agenda actually was about filling in vacant seats and also coming up with leadership. Jubilee has had interim officials most of the time. So what was happening here is that they were coming out, there was going to be a lot of acrimony. And so Jubilee people who don't like change, who knew they will be voted out, because majority of the delegates in Jubilee, majority of the people who were coming that day were actually UDA. And they were coming there to replace and throw out anybody else whom they thought should go. And interestingly, which was going to be very interesting, and which somebody whispered to us, they were going to propose the deputy president as the party leader. So it was going to be a very serious issue. This was a state issue. This was a big matter.
But it was the deputy president who was supposed to be expunged from the party.
No, in fact, instead, it is him who will have won. Because the delegates are his. Jubilee went away. There's nothing like Jubilee. There are a few things in Jubilee, you know, feeling like, you know, they are still there, but, you know, moving with momentum. Jubilee moved to ODM, and most of them moved to UDA. So when they were coming to meet, the ones who are still in ODM, maybe they would have proposed Raila to be the party leader. But the ones who are in UDA and who are majority were actually coming in to propose the deputy president as their party leader, and they're going to replace all those other people who have been there, because after all, they're interim officials.
Right. Do you have any agenda, Solomon, before you move on?
I don't understand what he's talking about, because there's no way you can be in UDA and in Jubilee unless he wants to say that those people who are in UDA are not registered members of UDA. Because if you are registered as a member of UDA, there's no way you can be registered as a delegate in Jubilee. So you are either in UDA or in Jubilee. And the other day I attended the event where the registrar of political parties were being introduced in the e-citizen. And nowadays you can simply check in which party you belong to. And there's no way you can belong to two political parties. So the point that UDA members would come to evict Jubilee party leadership, it does not hold any waters. Where? How? It's not possible.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, 58 years after independence, we celebrate our Jamhuri Day, the day on Sunday, and as well extended to yesterday on Monday. Yeah, so, 58 years post-independence.
Yes.
What do you think is the state of the nation, 58 years post-independence? I heard Uru saying we didn't have a vision for the country. We didn't imagine the future of this country.
Yes.
The foundations that we had were wrong. And interestingly, it's the father who was the president at that time. I don't know, was he criticizing his leadership as he speaks on history? And anyway, what is the current state of the nation?
I think compared to where we have come from, we really must appreciate ourselves. We have made serious steps. Remember, the colonialists stayed in Kenya for around 68 years.
Okay.
And in 68 years, they just constructed around 1,800 kilometers of tarmac. You can imagine, for 68 years.
68 years.
So when Kenyatta came, then Moi, then Kibaki. Kenyatta, Moi, and Kibaki gave us around 11,200 kilometers of tarmac. And Uhuru Kenyatta has now also done about 9,000 kilometers of tarmac. So you can clearly see that in terms of infrastructure as a country, we have made serious steps since we gained our independence. In terms of freedoms, we really enjoy freedoms in this country compared to other countries in Africa or even in Asia. People here can say anything, can do anything, and nobody, comes after them. Freedom of expression, movement, association. Those are rights that Kenyans have really fought for. Even the second liberation, you remember there was somehow reintroduction of colonialism in Kenya in the 1990s, where some people were saying we must remain with one political party. And some people stood up and said we are not going to, to be ruled under one political party. Today, I saw a list of about 85 registered political parties where people meet and, channel their future. So those are freedoms we have really enjoyed. There are challenges we talk. They are there.
Yes.
But I always tell people, show me one day when life was perfect. Even in your home, in your family, in your personal life, when everything was perfect, was okay. You get money, you get sick. You're healthy, you don't have money. You know, you're not sick, you have the money, but your relative somehow has problems. So there's no at any given point when everything is so perfect. And that's why I don't like venturing in pessimism, where sometimes people think of demonizing our country. Remember we talk. The other day the president said that we are ranked as the 6th largest economy in Africa. Number 6. And some guys said, no, bei ya unga, nini stuff. And I told them, go to their websites which wrote about that. They are not; those are not jokers. They are serious people who do due diligence, proper investigation. Kenya being ranked 6th in Africa is not a mean achievement. And also remember, Nairobi is the ranked as the best city in Africa and number 12 in the world. So looking at some of those good things that are there for Kenya, you know, those are some of the things that people out there are able to see. And that's why I'm shocked here in Kenya. Perhaps Eliud Kipchoge is not seen as so much of a hero. But wait until he steps out of Kenya. You know, there are some streets in this world where Eliud Kipchoge cannot walk because everyone wants to take a selfie with him. In this Nairobi, some people just look at him.
Why have we not named a road after him or something?
A street or something? Look at that. That one, I made such a proposal. We need to immortalize some of those heroes of our country. But also, we need to put it in our software. We need to put patriotism in our heads. You know, how on earth can such an athlete be recognized more out there than here in Kenya, even by Kenyans themselves? So it begins by, you know, first appreciating the steps you have made before you make the complaints. Let the complaints come, yes, they're good. Even in a meeting, if you go to a formal meeting and you start, you know, by the negative things, do you think you're going to make any progress? Start by positives that you have gained as a country, and I've really tried to tell you what you have achieved. And then go to the negatives later, because we are still dealing with corruption. Is a big elephant in the room. We still have not won the war. We still have some people who are walking scot-free out there and have eaten our money. Are we still dealing with tribalism? Negative tribalism, because I believe having so many tribes in Kenya should be a positive thing. Should not be a problem. But we are still dealing with that, especially now that we are nearing the electioneering period. We are trying to reintroduce those negative tribalisms. And also unity is not as much. Because I thought at some point, why Tanzania, you know, Tanzania has more tribes than Kenya.
Yes.
There are so many, but you cannot. If I tell you to name at least 1, 2, 3, 5 tribes from Tanzania, you may not be able to. But they have been united. You see, unaona lugha, language unites people. I'm one person who believes at some point we should make Kiswahili
a national language.
The first language. It's national.
Already
as
first
of now.
Language, okay.
As of now it is. But it is second to English.
Yes.
So we should make it first. Before we think about English, Spanish, and the rest, we do Swahili. At least everybody, everywhere. And then we say use of, I know it is there in the books, use of, you know, native languages in offices and stuff. We go strong on that. And even in public places. Like if you are to Uhuru Park and you're just sitting there's no point you're speaking in the row and there's a Kikuyu there, there's a Kalenjin there. You know, when you're in public places, just use the national language. We are going to be united, and we are going to shun this negative tribalism.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Peter AMUNGA, 50 years post-independence. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Tuna jamhuri.
No, of course, it's not yet Uhuru. The country is, if the state of the nation today is one, court orders are not obeyed. This joblessness, young people have no jobs. There is rising food prices, fuel prices.
Okay.
There is a problem with our huge public debt. You know, my brother KURIA, when he speaks, he reminds me of Jubilee. You know, I worked with Jubilee personally. I was one of their persons in media. Jubilee is so good at, you know, at building castles in the air and making make-believe and fake and PR games, you know. You know, oh, Nairobi is the third largest, I don't know, first. I don't know what Kiswahili should be what. You know, those are the things that you'll hear from any typical Jubilee character. They'll tell you things that don't add any value to life. Right now, we are even having TV stations like Ramogi, which are Dolwo, being licensed and operating and working. Mainly, what I can tell Kenyans is that we are living in a time when all of us are now saying, Malizeni muende. Yani, we have reached a place whereby we feel the Uhuru Ruto government, the Jubilee government, wamalize haraka, wakwende huko. Because they have reached where we are as a country. We feel we have not reached what we were promised. The laptops that we were told will come, the things that we were told will happen, the stadiums, the what, none of them seems to have worked. He said now we have gone, the big four agenda, those things didn't work. So we as Kenyans, at the Jamhuri Day celebrations, many Kenyans went about their businesses and ignored the whole thing. In fact, we didn't even want to comment, we didn't want to talk, because we have no jobs, we have no food in our houses, our schools are burning because they are congested. Those programs, most of them are programs which come up with some people seated somewhere in some office and come up with ideas. Let us now have 100% transition. And when you think of that 100% transition, a school like Muho High School, which had 6 dorms in 1988, still has got the same 6 dorms in the year 2021, and you want to bring in, and now you want to bring in more children to use the same facility. The students cannot fit, the food rations are too low, the teachers are not enough. And so all these things, there's a lot of trying to hype. When you see our government come up and say things like, we are the best in this. For example, I listened to the State of the Nation address. I listened to the president say that now we have more children in school. But we forget, being in school is not everything. It's about the quality of education. So the quality lacks. We are just there to feed numbers so that, I don't know whom they satisfy. I think there are some donors who when they give these figures, they keep sending them money. And during the address, the things that we have been seeing, we have been hearing things like Alibaba, I don't know, Baba. You know, you look at the fight against corruption. Most of the time as members of this country, we just sit back and wonder. The people who are accusing others of being thieves and calling others Alibaba, the same names are featuring in COVID-19 billionaires. So you wonder now, ni kama ile tulikuwa nasikia kitambo when somebody in the streets of Nairobi are called a thief, you turn around and you say, this is the thief. So you know, the one who is not the thief is actually the one who is beaten. We have leaders who have failed us. We as a country are reaching a place as a nation, and we are saying, maybe we need some better leadership. And I wrote recently in an article and I said, we cannot continue going through this thing of being told, don't vote for so and so. Yes. In 2013, 2017, we were told not to vote for Raila Odinga. They did everything to tell us how Raila Odinga is bad. We were told, vote anything, but not Raila. This time now we are being told, don't vote for Ruto. Vote for so and so. Don't vote for Ruto because it's this and this. Kenyans have a brain. We don't want to be told whom not to vote for. We have reached a place where we also want to think and know whom do we vote for. We cannot just be being directed by other people, other forces, on who not to vote for, when actually we can also get somebody to vote for. So I want to just say that the state of the nation, we are preparing for a very big election come 2022. You were saying 10 days to Christmas.
Yes.
We are actually 20 days to 2022. For us, this is the best time ever to change this government.
Okay.
Hawa jamaa wetu wakwende haraka haraka, wamalize waende. Hiyo drama yao imetuchosha kabisa. We want serious business in government. We want a government that is serious, that is working for the people of Kenya. And honestly speaking, 2022 cometh. We want changes.
All right. Well, you're still there. We had an Azimio La Umoja event on Friday. And your party leader, Musalia Mudavadi, or OKA principal, he said now these days should be called OKA principal. OKA principal Musalia Mudavadi gave it a very wide berth and he didn't attend it. But Gideon Moi attended it. But anyway, let's talk about Musalia Mudavadi. Why wasn't he in the Azimio La Umoja event?
Of course, two things. One, Musalia got a message and he wrote back and said he had personal engagements. And actually, personally, even when I looked at the whole event, it was disorganized. It was full of name calling. It was full of insults. Alibaba, Baba, what? You know, those kind of things. Musalia is a serious leader. Musalia is not the type of leader to attend that kind of nonsensical things. And there was nothing new in Azimio. They were unveiling what we have always unveiled. Since 1997, we have always unveiled Raila Odinga as a candidate, presidential candidate. So what is so new that Musalia was going to go and watch? Maybe the few fellows in Jubilee would have found it interesting to go and watch Raila unveiling himself as the next presidential candidate. But Raila has always unveiled himself, endorsed himself as a presidential candidate since 1997. So there's nothing new. If I had personal engagements the way Musalia had, I have no business going to watch something that I know what will happen. You know, it was nothing new. Apart from that, I also want to inform Kenyans that Musalia lost his stepmother, Mama Rosbella Mudavadi. She was actually being brought, she died in America. And around the same weekend, I think she was coming back from, the body was being brought back from the US. So I think Musalia and their family are also preparing to bury their stepmother or their mother, their matriarch. So what I can say for now is Musalia, Kalonzo, I was very happy to see Kalonzo missing. Weta, of course, wrote back and said he will not even attend. Raila Odinga. Now let me now go to the undertones. You know, that was the when I used to teach Kiswahili, when you teach methali, there used to be ile maana ya juu na maana ya ndani. Maana ya juu ni kwamba Musalia had personal engagements. That's why he didn't attend. Maana ya ndani sasa.
Haya, tuambie maana ya ndani.
Maana ya ndani ni kwamba OKA are also eyeing the presidency. Musalia Mudavadi is well placed to take over the OKA presidency. Raila Odinga is his rival. So why go to watch your rival also being inaugurated?
But Raila came to Bomas.
He came for which one? For Kanu?
For ANC.
No, ANC, we have not even had an NDC.
Okay.
We have not yet had, and we are not going to invite him. Because he doesn't add value to us. He doesn't add value to ANC. But what I can say is that Musalia Mudavadi is angling for that position. And we all know how Raila has treated the ANC family and the OKA, the former NASA principals. We know how his supporters call them cowards for not coming kwa hiyo kitu yake ilikuwa ile inaitwa fake swearing in ceremony. So this kind of dramas of Raila, where every time he has some function, Mara he has a fake swearing ceremony, Mara he has Miguna to do what for him. This Azimio, these things we are so used to them. I tend to think it is time that the country moves on. We can't continue having all these things, all these dramatic shows of Raila Odinga. We want leaders who can tell us something new. Azimio is not new. Azimio is not going to work. And you cannot be talking about Azimio La Umoja when you invite people who want to abuse the deputy president, who is the sitting deputy president. Then that means you're not doing Azimio. You are just doing some drama. If it was real Azimio, how come the deputy president was not invited? How come other people are not invited? Why invite others and leave out others? So in such a situation, I personally thought it was not even a good thing to attend. Musalia Mudavadi is above that kind of thing. Okay.
Salama KURIA, you are at Azimio La Umoja event. Yes. What was the vision around the whole thing? What is the way forward? And also when you talk about Azimio La Umoja, we had an incident where Maragwa MP was kicked out of the meeting by some men in black.
Let me first begin by saying that Musalia Mudavadi is the laziest politician I know in Kenya. The most lazy.
So,
and
you know,
let
those
me
kind
tell
of
you,
insults.
Let him make
me
his statement. Let him speak.
You have said that Azimio was nonsense.
but not personal.
And
You know, when you
no,
attack
no,
personal,
no.
when you go personal,
I want to say.
I can also go personal on some other characters who are also angry.
Can I tell you this bit?
No, the
Let him
word
express
lazy.
Musalia-
No, let him express himself.
Musalia
You'll have an opportunity to
Mudavadi is
disagree.
the laziest politician I know in Kenya.
Okay.
Who could not
misguided.
abandon his whatever he does to come and attend Azimio La Umoja. This is one person, and I'll tell you this with authority, talk, who has a whole constituency to first unite because charity begins at home. He cannot even unite Western Kenya, leave alone Kenya.
That's your allegation.
My friend, he cannot even stand. And Governor Oparanya, or even this guy of the trade union. What is his name? Atwoli. Mudavadi cannot stand Oparanya and Atwoli in Western Kenya. He cannot even convince more people there than Wetangula. And he's telling us he wants to be president. Let me ask you, Bitok. Musalia Mudavadi was in a Gideon Moi's event where Gideon Moi was declared as the KANU presidential aspirant. Isn't it?
OKA.
He was in Kalonzo Musyoka's event
OKA.
where Kalonzo Musyoka was
Their
declared
teammates.
as the presidential candidate.
OKA.
In those two events, Raila Odinga attended. So when it comes to Raila, Raila has no right to declare himself. But Kalonzo has the right to declare himself. Gideon Moi has the right, but not Raila. Let me tell you number two. And this is it. As long as Gideon Moi attended the event at Kasarani, OKA attended the event. There is no OKA without Gideon Moi.
Yeah?
He bankrolls them.
Okay.
They cannot survive without the man.
So
They can lie to us, be talk here, out here, and say we are OKA, we are strong. But let me tell you, OKA without Gideon Moi, it is dead. And Gideon Moi said, we would rather be safe. We would rather have Raila as the president than the other guy.
Which other guy?
You know, than the other guy. If he misses the presidency himself as Gideon, or even Musalia, or even Kalonzo, he will be okay if Raila is the president.
Okay.
Now that is OKA speaking. And remember this. I've told you before, in the whole OKA team, the two very crucial persons in OKA are Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka and Gideon Moi.
Okay.
Politics is money or influence. Kalonzo has influence. His region is totally intact. Gideon has money. He can bankroll a presidential campaign.
Okay.
Mudavadi has neither influence nor money. Same to Weta, he is the only senator elected
And
with his
that's
own
what-
political
and that
party.
is- that
You
is-
know, truth must be said.
That's
we,
why
we,
I want
we are not in
I'll give you a
Bitox.
rejoinder.
No.
I
You are
want to
going to
address-
come.
I'll give you a rejoinder.
We are not in
Munga.
Bitox show
I'll
to
give
try
you a
and
rejoinder.
And you're
sugarcoat
not here
things.
to also just
Yeah.
lie.
I'll give you a rejoinder. You spoke, you was
You will
quiet.
come. You spoke and I was very
was very
quiet.
quiet. Okay.
Let me
Finish
speak. We don't come to your show to just sugarcoat things.
This is the tackle.
We bring
not to
out
lie.
we bring out the issues.
All right.
I am telling you, statistically, go and bring Kalonzo Musyoka's Lower Eastern Bloc. It is intact. At least you can even see Charity Ngilu is with him.
The other day,
The other three governors attended the Azimio event
Okay.
in Ukambani. Show me how Mudavadi has united his region. Nothing.
Okay. All right. Tell us
No
about
money,
Azimio.
no
now.
influence.
Tell
Let
us
me now
about
come to
Azimio.
Azimio.
Yes.
acha matusi sasa, ongea ukweli sasa.
Azimio is about the unity of the country.
Okay.
At least I have attended about 5 or 6 Azimio events across the country.
But the conversation there, were they uniting the country? Or who is the country?
Let me begin by saying this. What Raila Amolo Odinga did is one of the strategies the other politicians who are eyeing presidency were not able to see. You first go to the people, listen to the issues first before you start responding with all manner of solutions.
Okay.
So he went across the country, picking memorandums, picking issues from people. And Nairobi was the climax of that.
Okay.
So after listening to people and them giving you ideas and issues they would want you to handle, you now go sit down, prepare a manifesto, and come and now report to people that if given an opportunity, this is what I am going to do. But you don't come jumping to people with slogans. That we want bottom up. We give you wheelbarrows, you are going to be okay. Yet I have never sat down with you and told you that really my problem is a wheelbarrow. My problem is a mkokoteni. I have never sat down with you. If now Raila comes out and says, this is what I'm going to do, A, B, C, D, at least he will have listened to the farmers from Mount Kenya. He will have listened to pastoralists from Northeastern. He will have listened to the people of Nairobi, the business people. He will have listened to fishermen. He will have listened to maize farmers in the Rift Valley. He will have listened to the people of Coast and their blue economy. At least he will have a platform to say, I listened to people, and these are the possible solutions. It's about, Bitok. At least we have seen Raila Amolo Odinga and what he can do. I'm waiting to see an NDC of maybe UDA. Or maybe
Jubilee,
or maybe ANC. I'm not sure they're going to get funds to have an ANC NDC. But I also want to hear from the rest. At least I have heard. Hata kama kulikuwa na mambo mengine ambayo watu hawakupenda and stuff like you have said. Wamaua was
and when you talk about
this is something
and also Solomon Kuria,
something I'm telling those guys.
In all sincerity, Solomon, when you talk about uniting the country, who is the country? Because when you have such leaders being roughed up in such an event that is supposedly supposed to unite the country, who is the country?
One, there's something that these people must learn with events of that caliber. Organization is very key. Because I was there. I was in the VVIP tent. And only about 100 people. There were actually 100 chairs. But everybody, including those who had no roles, wanted to be there. And our politicians. If even in church, kama ataingia na awekwe ile kiti ya nyuma huko wataki na niko kanisa umekuja kuomba anataka kukaa mbele,
lakini alitolewa kwa mlango.
And it was you see, that was the entry for the VVIP. So but the way they removed her was not the correct way. Eventually she was inside. She went in at the right position where she was supposed to sit. I saw her. I even have the photos of her. She eventually came back.
Oh, she came back. She didn't go away.
Yes. She didn't go away. She didn't go away.
She went away.
No, she did not. I will give you that. You know, I'm a man of facts.
Okay, you'll give us
those photos.
I will give you the photos right now. Bitok, I will give you the photos that you can share. She was inside the arena, but the way they had on her is a problem. I would like to tell those guys who deal with those guys in ODM, please.
Just say those hooligans, many.
No, not hooligans. Not hooligans. No. Let us respect. I've started began by why they were doing that, because everybody wanted
tell them something.
Everybody wanted to access Vivia. Everybody.
Not everybody.
Let me tell you.
Kalozo didn't want. Who is everybody?
Everybody wanted. Everybody who was at Kasarani wanted to be there. So let me tell them. There's a way you approach. At people. You explain. Mheshimiwa, mekuja ni kweli, we are very happy, but we are sorry, this one is full, but we can get you
an
alternative sitting area comfortably, and then create a buffer zone just before you get to the door. Create a buffer zone over there where you sort out people before they come in. I believe that was a challenge, and in the next one, I'm not hoping to see something of that kind, but the event was very successful. We got a point where we got the ideas. We were told what Raila is expecting to do for this nation. And also, we got a time to reflect at history. I was very impressed by the presentation by SK Macharia. Picking it and telling it to people. Things... What Mzee Ogiga Odiga said. We have always heard that Ogiga, said there is no Kenyatta, there is no Uhuru without Kenyatta. At least for that day, I was able to hear from him saying that. And that was very, 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 very unselfish of that man.
When did you guys remember all these stories?
No,
The narrative that has been existing has been very different from that. Because the history has been there. When did Solomon Kuria discover this history?
You see.
All right, let me give AMUNGA a rejoin.
I have to say something.
I find it so interesting. Since I left
Simon
politics, life has been good.
And a few fellows who are living in utopia. They are trying to tell us they didn't go to school. Me, I'm a teacher of history. So they're trying to tell us, now I got to know history. The governor for Nyeri, my friend Mutai Kahiga, used to be with him in NAT headquarters. Mutai Kahiga put it very clearly that if you want to know where Kenya was those days of the colonialists, those funny days, those dark ages, join Raila. That's what Simon Kuria here, our friend, has done. They've gone back those dark ages to remember how things used to be, how things were bad, how life was horrible.
Okay. What's up?
That is good, Simon. If you want history, go there. But if you want to know where Kenya is going, Nani told us you can join other people. You don't need to join someone like Raila. Raila, anytime he stands, and I was so embarrassed I'm happy that Gideon Moi left the OKA thing very quickly after he gave his speech. He didn't even need to stay there.
OKA or Azimio?
I mean Azimio, sorry. He left
He has left OKA.
No, sorry. He left the Azimio thing. Because
It is the same way Raila left his event, you remember?
Because when Raila stood up to speak, he told us how he had been tortured by Gideon Moi's father. How many years he was inside the cells, how he was inside, I don't know, his eye was teary because of Gideon Moi's father. And it was looking so funny that Gideon Moi is attending an event where the main story that was going on there is how Raila suffered under President Moi. And how Raila's father, now the one Saimo is trying to tell us, called Odinga, suffered under Uhuru's father. When you look at all this, you start wondering as Kenyans, surely. Inakwanga ujinga gani sisi hii Kenya, there's a time Uhuru said, hii Kenya iko na wajinga wengi sana. Yani, you sit in an event, and your father is being criticized. He's being told how he was a dictator, how he was all these things, and you are clapping. I mean, ni ujinga kabisa. And it was unfortunate that Gideon Moi went there, and I hope he has learned his lessons. Because people like that lady from Maragua, I believe she must have learned her lesson. Forget these pictures were being given Photoshops. This lady, we all saw her being thrown out of the event. And that is how Mutai, this minister for India, anaitwa nani wa health, anaitwa Mutai what? Kagwe. Mutai Kagwe was told by Junet Mohammed, hii ni serikali yetu sasa ya Nyanza, ya Wajaluo, ya Nyanza. When we take over, you will have to take a back seat. The fellows like Simon Kuria, who are my friend Kuria here, Solomon Kuria, Simon Kuria used to be also another friend of mine. Solomon Kuria are going to take a back seat. Wanakaa huko nyuma, wanapigwa huko, wanafukuzwa. We are used to that. We have supported Raila for many years. Kuria, let me tell you, kama kuna watu wamesupport Raila, it is the people from Western. We have lost our lives supporting Raila. Hautatufundisha. Nobody can teach us about supporting Raila. We have fought battles. We are the people. Kama ni kupigwa mawe na Wajaluo, wale wana support Raila, tumepigwa mawe. Hakuna kitu tutafundishwa hapo. People like Kuria now we start learning how to be beaten. As now they have joined, they are new. Being beaten, being chased from meetings, that is the order of the day when you are dealing with ODM. ODM has got men in black. Ask Ababu Namwamba. Ababu Namwamba was going to become the Secretary General. He know what happened to him. He was beaten and thrown out. Men in black came in. These men in black will also deal with Kuria, will deal with the other fellows like these ones who are trying to pretend that they know ODM more than us. They will get to know the fire. Let me say this. What can I say, maybe? It is very unfortunate, this narrative that is pushed, and I know it comes from ODM, that Musalia Mudavadi is a lazy politician. Musalia Mudavadi became a minister at the age of 28. Kuria, I don't know how old he is. He may be 40 or 50. I don't know if he'll ever become even a minister or even a chief. I doubt. I don't know. But Musalia Mudavadi was a minister at 28.
Okay.
He has been a minister for all those years. He served as one of the best. He introduced things like this KRA we have. He's a person who has worked in this government. He has been a deputy, deputy
Prime Minister.
Prime Minister. Mr. Kuria, please update. You are still learning history. The only problem is you are learning history through Raila Odinga, the history of who tortured Raila. The history of this country is such that Musalia Mudavadi has been a vice president. How many of us have been vice president in this country? He has been a deputy prime minister. How many of us have been a deputy prime minister? He has been a minister for finance for many years. He was the minister for local government for many years. So when you come to a studio like this one and start telling us that this man is lazy because he doesn't know how to abuse people, because he doesn't know how to throw stones.
All those are appointive positions.
Appointed. He was elected.
Appointed.
He had to be elected to be
the only thing he was elected was member of parliament.
Yes, that's what.
Let him talk about. Let us talk of people like DP Ruto, Raila Odinga, people who have massive following in this country. Who follows Mudavadi?
You are now.
Musalia calls for a presser, and then he thinks he has campaigned. Retreats, goes back to his drinks, and that is final. He thinks they have achieved by calling a presser.
Now you're starting to bring in things like drinks.
No.
That one is an abuse, my friend, and I'm not going to allow you to do that.
I'm going to tell you. Let's go on from that.
If you start talking about drunkards, we know people in Jubilee who are
How
drunk.
many political rallies has
he
he held?
drunk than anybody.
How many political rallies has he held this man?
So
how many?
Let's move on, gentlemen.
Allow me to continue talking.
How many?
Let me read the comments.
No, the KURIA is coming here to insult people, and that is wrong. How many rallies did Kibaki hold? He became the best president of this country. How many rallies has Odinga held and he has never become a president? Holding rallies is not becoming president.
Look at that now.
It is not how many rallies you hold in a day or in a year
Political
that make
rallies
you
are
president.
very important. They are very important.
Kibaki became the best president of this country, and people only knew him in Odaya. But he has become he served for 10 years. He campaigned on a wheelchair. He became the president of this country twice. Not because he knew how to throw stones. Not because he knew how to abuse and insult others.
Right, okay.
KURIA
Quickly moving
forward. Must learn that Kenya is going to reach a place whereby it's not the many political rallies you have and insulting people that makes you president.
It's a manifesto.
It is your
the
manifesto.
Vision for the country.
It is the vision you have for this nation. It is what you are telling people about our public debt, about our pesa mfukoni, about where we are going. So we are not in here to abuse. We are here to sell our manifestos. Musalia Mudavadi has performed, and when somebody says he doesn't have influence, he doesn't have Western, and I come from Western, and somebody from I don't know where KURIA, I don't know where he comes from, he's trying to tell me a person from Western, that we don't know Musalia's influence. We don't know my area MP, the Kakamega MP, the Kakamega senator. All these people are in Musalia's party. So when you said to telling me that he doesn't have influence, and we voted for him, we have voted for his MPs, they are leading us. In fact, our MP in Huisero became the first MP in the country in terms of development.
So Governor
All
right, let's move on.
Just a
Let me
minute.
read the comments.
Governor wa Vihiga ni wa chama gani?
Hiyo si kitu, hiyo si
ODM. Where Mudavadi comes from.
NASA.
Even his area MCA is elected on an ODM.
That's not true.
That's not true.
What is the name of the area
MCA? His own governor
what is
is
the name of the
ODM.
MCA? What is
All
the
right,
name of the MCA?
other guys, let's move forward.
This
Okay,
guy,
it's
the
idea
problem
for
with KURIA is
Bluetooth.
just wants to
Set this phone up
insult.
for me.
Si governor wa ODM. Am I lying?
Umesema
Governor wa ODM.
anaitwa nani?
Governor wa ODM.
Alikuwa
So it's like
NASA.
telling me.
All right, guys, let's move forward. Guys, let's move forward. Elias Lagat, good morning. We talk. Didi from Elgon View, Eldoret, asante sana. Well, Mark Koech watching from Kileleshwa, asante atu Akile. Sebastian Kibet, good morning. Mheshimiwa Jibi, good morning to you, my brother. Kabura Kamau, good morning. Jera tuned in from Kirinyaga. Jason Ken, good to see you. Aska Mebur, those remaining in Jubilee are in ODM. Okay, Paul W. Muye asked Solomon whether he's aware that Ur was nominated as TNA presidential candidate, yet he was a KANU MP. Okay, and in Njoroge, say hi to Solomon, my village mate. Palos Eric Meja, ati mmesema Twitter yeye Kasim ni nani? Sijui, very well, fair game.
Somebody's asking me, how many votes did Atuoli get? Because this guy is trying to say Atuoli has influence.
All right,
How many
Shabal
votes has
Tura
Atuoli
Tarus.
ever gotten?
Okay. Gagife, good morning, GB. Good morning to Brian Amadi. Those people making those ratings that Kenya is top 5 are human beings, and we know our Kenyan leaders are good in corruption. What can they do to keep their reputation? Brian Amadi, these media stations are also now operating under some kind of instructions from some people somewhere. Kwemai Daniel Solomon KURIA, if he is truly for the unity of this country, why is he continually reminding us of 207 political skirmishes? Yet most of the affected families are struggling to heal. Do they need to be reminded of this all the time. All right, policy measure. 4 million babies from born in 2001, 2002, 2003 will be on the voters' ballot queue with you next year. They will be 21, 20, 18, and 19 years of age. It's a long story. Eric, jamani. Eric, tafadhali piga simu tuweza kuzungumza. Brian Amadi, you can't give a platform for insult in your studio and you say it's okay.
That is wrong. It is wrong. Simon KURIA Solomon will have to apologize.
Councillor Tarus too, where do you find this? He was like, okay. Then it is Sankara. The only important character in OKA is one Kalonzo Musyoka, bro. Yeah, don't it is Sankara. How is Azimio about unity of the nation? All speeches are laced with poisonous political undertones that can split this nation. We can't talk of unity while championing 42 tribes against one. Never. Actually, Azimio left Raila. Saying actually, Azimio left Raila isolated. Okay. Ask Amabur, where was KURIA when DP was going around the country with this team of experts, economists collecting views on what was important for each community and region? Okay. John Mamisha, you may have to ask Solomon KURIA if the violence was meted on innocent Kenyans by the. Okay. You may have to ask Solomon KURIA if the violence that was meted on innocent Kenyans by the Azimio La Umoja delegates on Thika Road is what we should expect in Raila Odinga presidency. Actually, know someone who lost a laptop and a phone on the road when letting from a matatu.
Yes,
I think that was really, it was crazy. Okay. As Kamebo, Raila's story moved many of us, but I remembered that leadership is not given out as a reward. It is won in a democratic process. Glad Kenyans are smarter in the 2021. Did that Wally say they will be gifting Gideon next? I don't know. Okay. KURIA is speaking out of sheer ignorance. It needs to get a grasp of local politics. He's being given an opportunity to talk about the Azimio event, but he's diverting to mere situation. As much as he has his preferred candidate, he should try to be objective as much as possible, not unless Raila goes for former NASA principles. There's no way he's going to win the presidency. The DP has made inroads in central part of the country and has a huge impact. That's a fact. Raila needs the OKA guys more than the DP. All right, okay. John Wandamusi, don't forget to ask about the violence in Thika Road. I've already asked. He's going to respond shortly. GK Korir, can KURIA successfully contest for any collective position? I don't think he can even become a kettle dip chair. Okay, that's opinion.
Not those kind of insults.
David Oyola anasema wishu ngenita na huyu jamaa wa ANC mtu bure kabisa. Bwana Musi, Solomon KURIA has zero content, which forces him to resort to personal attacks instead of addressing the matters at hand. Let him talk about the economy, unemployment, governance, instead of telling us who drinks what and when. Santo Angong Mayen, Peter Amunga has a point to make, but he's being emotional at Solomon. He argues as if he has monopoly over history of Kenya. Mudavadi was a vice president and not a deputy president like Ruto. He didn't have much power as Ruto. Okay. Nixon Langat, watching from Kapsabet. Robert Kipto, KURIA does not have facts. Eliasabeth watching from Bomet. Elmut Musomi, Amunga tell that so-called that he doesn't what ODM, since he has never engaged in their politics. Atajua ajui. Okay. Ajabisha is down for the pay in receive. Okay. Christine Rubey watching from Nakuru. Liz Mburu watching from County of Meru. Good to see you, Liz Mburu. Good morning. Robert Kipto, as KURIA is claiming that he is Jubilee chair. When was he elected and by who? We know Jubilee is dead. Makwet Solomon, KURIA is a man with a lot of bitterness. All right, okay. Jack Blinker, Azimio La Umoja, can these people tell us what we are safe in? And Solomon KURIA. Okay, so kila mtu anasema Solomon hizo niona YouTube pia watu wanasemaje hapa. Dan Ngatich, please ask Solomon KURIA, why does he hate Ruto with passion? Okay, I don't know if you are hating the passion that he tell us. Makua, good morning. Interesting discussion. Katrin Rice, good to see you. I'm seeing some, but this KURIA guy is just a sycophant supporting a demigod master for a day. Okay. I'm not sure about that. Nito Namokia, now that Odinga didn't take the leadership of the country, does it mean that we should pass the baton to his son Raila? Nani alimwambia asichukue uongozi ndio kijana yake ashinda akitupea historia. Ezekiel Kiplagat Koech, good morning guys. I propose that we break the country into 14 countries. Some people are so arrogant and feel they are more Kenyans than others. Some of us are tired of these idiots. All right? I don't know who the idiots are. I don't know. Proceeding. Simu pia, I want to speak fungua bunge la mwenye nchi nambari ni 0779 or 779-800-010. Bunge la mwenye nchi nambari ni 0779-800-010. 779-800-010 unaweza piga simu kuweza kutoa maoni yako kwenye mazungumzo ya leo. Nambari ni 0779-800-010. 779-800-010. Bunge la mwenye nchi 0779-800-010. Alright. I'll start with you, KURIA. You have any response you want to give on the comments? Especially on the violence, someone is insisting on the violence on Thika Road. Yes, I personally lost someone who lost a laptop. And
he needs to
lost the phone.
He needs to apologize.
You
we'll
see,
go to that.
Yes, anytime you have an event, There are people who take advantage of such and start, pickpocketing, robbing people of their belongings and stuff. But you really can't say that those are supporters of His Excellency Raila Odinga. No, you can't say that. You have no authority to say that. Anytime, go hold an event, and I'm sure one day you will. I'm seeing a Gerard Bitok homecoming. So, and you have organized, you have invited people. They are sitting down, but there are some people who will take advantage and do that, and they were dealt with as criminals. I know there are even some who are shot. So criminals are criminals. Criminals have no tribe, they have no political parties.
Okay, I don't know Mungwana anasemaje. Bunga la mwananchi kwanza. Good morning.
Good morning, Bitok. Habari ya leo.
Salama sana, ongea na nani?
Mimi ni Caleb kutoka Nakuru.
Nisema Caleb.
Mimi uliza huyu ndio ANC.
Anaitwa Peter Amunga.
Ati Solomon Kuria ana insult watu. Kwani Malala kila siku ana insult Raila kutoka huko Kakamega. Kwa nini hajai lalamika ati Malala wacha ku-insult Raila?
Okay. Haya.
Alafu na tofauti na Malala kuzurura huko Western. Ni wapi tena wanafanyanga campaign hao watu wa ANC Kenya mzima?
Nowhere else.
Tulikuwa Voi nikutumie picha mwanaume Google. Acha kupiga simu kama ujui.
Sawa, asante. Bunga la mwananchi kwanza, nambari ni 779-800-10 kwanza. Nambari ni 779-800-10 pole kwa sababu ambazo ni 779-800-10. Bunga la mwananchi kwanza, nambari ni 779-800-10. Endelea Kuria.
So to proceed, let me now come to something that people are mentioning. And this is very, very dangerous. Guys are saying kama tutakula historia. That if we are going to feed on history, that is a very, very, regrettable statement coming from some people who say they want to be president in this country. If you do not know about the history of Kenya, there is no even point. There's no any point where you're going to become patriotic. If you do not know where this country has come from,
Go to school.
you have no business knowing where the country is going.
Haya, hata nikusumbua tena kidogo. Jambo bunga la mwananchi.
Jambo Gerald.
Salama sana, good morning.
Good morning to you. Salamia Peter Amunga na Solomon Kuria.
Sasa tumepokea.
Sasa I think kuna kitu kingine hapa. Hata kama tunapiga siasa nasikia Solomon Kuria anasema ati Musalia hana pesa. Alijua jana pesa.
Alikuwa kwa banki yake.
Kwani KURIA ama walifanya nini yaka kajua hana pesa?
Swali mzuri.
Alafu Kuria is a young man like me. I know Kuria is not even 40 years. Kuna clips anaona online anatumanga. Vitu vingine unasikia Kuria anasema hata unastuka. Hii election itaisha. Whether president atakuwa Raila ama Ruto. Kuna vitu unaweza sema leo na baadaye hata Raila akiingia presidency wakiangalia waone huyu jamaa alikuwa na spread hate speech online atashikwa. Yes, yeye atakuwa na protected. Kuna watu wanamtuma aongee vinyataka anaongea. Kwa sababu nimesikiza kuna vitu zake mingi anaongeanga online. Na tunasikizanga tu. Akituzi Ruto. Akiongea na post election violence. I don't know kama anajua post election violence ilikuwa. Because mimi we were affected. Because by that time nilikuwa Kericho. Now we are so much affected. I lost even my friend. Na hiyo kitu hakuna mtu alifaidika. No one will benefit from violence. So kama ni politics acheze siasa, lakini si maana ya kuenda kuongea hate speech online. Akisema huyu ni mwizi, huyu ni muuaji,
huyu hana pesa.
Huyu hana pesa. Kama una pesa kwani ni makosa kukosa pesa?
Obama alikuwa na pesa ngapi ndio akakuwa president wa
Na kama hauna ni vibaya kusema hauna.
Si kazi yako kutuambia. Nani alikuwa point kutuambia?
Akijikoga na Musalia Mudavadi surely.
Nitakujibu bro.
Hata jibu.
Haya, napenda di. Umemaliza bado kona.
He just apologize.
Solomon Kuria. Ile kitu naweza sema. Kama una support, hata mimi kuna mtu na support, lakini usikue unaweka chuki. Politics itaisha. Next year, after next year politics itaisha, then life ita go on. Na maisha hii watu hatakuja kulipe ati kama ameshinda. So don't take this thing personal.
Kabisa.
So usiweke kwa roho my friend.
Weka kwa lags.
Pumua na kwa inatoka. Asante sana.
That's a great caller.
Thanks.
Hey, that guy is good, man.
Merry Christmas in advance, ndugu. Haya, nambari ni 779 bunga la mwenye chio 779-800-010. Haya, endelea.
Hapana, kabla endelea I have to say something.
Okay, sawa.
Kila
Sema
saa
kitu.
unaambia endelea.
Nilimdisrupt.
In fact, watu wa Mudavadi wanauliza how come I'm going to be here
Okay,
just to
sawa.
speak.
Ongea basi papa. Ongea kwa papa.
The thing is this. Violence is bad. Yeah. And KURIA, my friend, don't be part of violence. Don't even talk about it. In fact, fear it. And if possible, when you come to a story like this one, don't try to associate yourself anywhere near violence. The reason why many people will not vote for Raila is because of violence. Raila is associated with violence. The violence of 2007, the violence of 2017, Baby Pendo, and even what we saw the other day at Azimio conference. That violence is bad. In fact, Raila should have come out to speak and tell Kenyans that I am not part of it. Whatever that happened, that were goons, and we are sorry. I should have expected somebody like Sifuna, the Secretary General of ODM, to come out strongly and say, and apologize to the Maragua MP. That is what we expect. We want Raila to come out of this notion that he's a violent man, that anything he does, anything around him is violence. You know, I like what KURIA said here, that Kalonzo has had an ADC meeting. Did we see any violence there? No. This man called Gideon Moi had an ADC meeting. Did we see any violence there? No. How come anything associated with Raila must always have violence, must always see violence, must always have tribal connotations? We are saying elections and campaign is not about violence. It's not about insults, my brother KURIA. It's about selling ideas. You may not like me, but don't insult. What has made many of us reject Baba, and me personally have rejected him, and many Kenyans who love peace will reject him at the ballot? Violence.
All right, violence. KURIA, please.
Yes, I was, before he interrupted, I was at the point where I was saying history. And you have to listen to what the president said during the Jamhuri Day celebrations. He said some of these things in the history, we have to forgive, but we must never forget. Are we together? We must never forget. That is why in the history of Kenya, 2007-2008 violence will never be forgotten.
But why do you revive it at your convenience?
No,
2017, where were you with those stories?
You see,
where were you with those stories?
Every 5 years we must warn people. Every 5.
Did you do it in 2017?
Every time, yes.
Can we get records of you talking about political violence between 2013 and 2017?
I was attending TV shows and I was saying this is how it started. It always starts with profiling people. And you see,
Which you are doing.
the guy is, you see,
You don't preach
Let
what
let him finish.
When you start
Let him
saying
finish,
others are broke,
see,
others
Amunga,
are drinking, that's
Amunga.
called
you
profiling.
see,
Amunga.
the
No, I have
fact,
to correct him.
Okay, so.
you see,
I have to
Amunga,
correct
the
him.
fact that you can shout does not mean that
Okay,
I
Solomon.
can. You know, I've always been quiet. when
Amunga, please.
I'm
Okay,
quiet when
proceed.
you're talking, so be
Proceed.
quiet. Be
Okay.
civil. Be civil.
Be civil
proceed.
yourself.
Be civil.
Don't insult Musalia again. Ever.
So,
All right, let's move forward.
Utatembea.
you see,
Never
you have-
insult
you have to
Musalia
control
again.
your
Yondele,
guests.
Amunga.
You see, it's getting
All right.
emotional and it is
Solomon.
not good in a debate.
Proceed.
Eh? You know, let me say this. And you know, unajua hata amenitoa kwa debate.
Yes, and I'm warning you because I've been told here. People are telling me
Amunga.
insult Musalia again.
Amunga.
Hiyo vitu yako unafanya insult.
Amunga.
Insult Ruto,
Amunga.
not Musalia.
Amunga, sawa. Aya,
Insult
proceed.
Ruto, but
Proceed,
Musalia
Solomon.
you deal na wewe.
Proceed, Solomon.
Utajaribu tena hiyo.
Proceed.
You see, we are
Proceed,
used to these
Solomon.
small threats.
Proceed.
So I am on record saying, Bitok,
Okay.
it starts by profiling communities.
Okay.
Starts by profiling people. Are we together? Anywhere in my conversations, I have never profiled anyone.
Okay.
What I say is that I call out some of the weaknesses, I call out lies, I call out actions by some politicians.
Okay.
In history, we get to know where we did well as a country,
Okay.
where we erred as a country, so that we are able to correct mistakes and we are able to borrow the best practices. So when you say that we do not eat history, when you condemn Raila Odinga for, you know, all the time talking about history. For instance, I didn't know that that Weston was part of Uhuru Gardens. I didn't know. I I heard for the first time from him. I
It
also
has,
didn't
it has
know.
moved from KA because I think it was
I
under
heard
KA.
from the president about the Langata concentration camp, which is today Uhuru Gardens, that it had about 10,000 liberators who were taken there, and most of them did not make it out alive. Most died. Are we together? I also didn't know that at some point it took the president himself to walk there and stop a member of parliament associated with UDA from grabbing the land. And he had actually set up a nightclub there at Uhuru Gardens.
Okay.
You know, those are preserves of our history.
Okay.
We must know those who fought for our country. Are we together? So that we also appreciate and ask ourselves, challenge ourselves. What am I doing for Kenya?
Okay.
The freedom fighters did their part. We got the freedom. The second liberators, Akina Ogiga Odinga, Kenneth Matiba, Charles Robia, Raila Odinga, Gitovu Imanyara, Bishop Joya. All those people fought for second liberation. What are we doing today as young people? We must stop condemning history. And I'm telling you this, the biggest asset for Raila Amolo Odinga is the history of Kenya.
Okay.
He is amongst the few guys living today who knows Kenya inside out. Leave alone some of us who just came the other day and challenging him on history. So history is a good thing to talk.
History is important, as
Very important.
Okay.
The only
And
problem with history is
those who don't
that's-
want history told, those who don't want history told,
Okay.
definitely have something
the problem
to
with
hide.
history is when you select some part of history and leave out some other very important parts of history.
Okay.
Our history is such that after independence and after all that we have been told about, the father to Raila Odinga, who was called Oginga Odinga, Jaramogi, went against Mzee
Jomo Kenyatta.
Jomo Kenyatta, and he was detained. Those of us who know history, which we are now not being told, is what happened at Russia Hospital in Kisumu, where many Luos were killed after they stoned and threw rotten eggs on Mzee Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. That is also history.
Okay.
In Russia Hospital, people died. People were detained. People lost their lives. It's not only. Let's also not forget there was 1981 or 82 coup, where Raila Odinga was mentioned as among the people who were part of the coup. That is history. People died in this Nairobi. People also paid it with their lives. You know, history should not be used selectively to vilify others and nullify other issues. History is history, and that is why I leave history to history teachers like me. Some of the people watching this show know that I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher of history. We know how to teach history. We can't allow a certain politician to teach Kenyans history by selecting some parts of history and leaving out some parts of history.
Okay.
The 1981 coup is history. Who was part of it? Who killed who? Who incited who? Who did what? She's also history. When we come to Kibaki era, yes, it is true in history that Raila said Kibaki tosha. But it is also history that the same Raila came and said, Nusumukate, sipati carpet enough. And for that, him and others were thrown out of the Uhuru cabinet. And they went out, the Kibaki cabinet, I'm sorry. That is also history. So this history should not be forgotten. I was in Kisumu. I was teaching at Kisumu Boys High School. When violence broke out in Kisumu, post-election violence, I will never forget. Raila came to our school where I was teaching, and he said, no Raila, no education. We had opened school. The students were thrown out. They had to leave. We had to close school because it was no Raila, no education. This is history. History should not be selective. And those who are listening to us, let us not be cheated that somebody can now come and say that Western Hotel was part of, I don't know, something 3 kilometers away called Uhuru Gardens. It is 3 kilometers away. Today we are told it's part of museum. Tomorrow we are told it's part of this. That is politics. Somebody is not providing the figures and the facts and the map and the survey map. Because if I can just come to a student like this one and declare my house in Huisero was actually the house of Nabongo Mumia. And you clap and you believe that is now history. That is not history. History is supposed to be researched. There are data, there is information. What Raila Odinga is doing, he's using history selectively to suit him and to make Kikuyus and the people in the mountain think that, no, this is an angel. We didn't know about him. It's as if they're discovering that who Raila is today. 2017, we were told Raila ni Mogoroki. We were told Raila ni Mutu sijui Muchawi. These things are still there. The same people who told us those things are now telling us that now we can look at history. And they're giving us history with a lot of selective amnesia. Hatutakubali. Hiyo mambo hatutakubali. History with selective amnesia, we won't accept.
Good morning, Bunga la Mwananchi.
Hello.
Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, Gerald. This is Meshach.
Yes, Meshach.
You have a very terrible teacher called AMUNGA. History teacher called AMUNGA.
Hey.
He's a very terrible history teacher.
Which history has he gotten wrong? When you say terrible.
He is sitting on your studio and telling us about the history he knows. And some of them are really distorted.
Like which ones?
Raila and Kibaki did not disagree because of corporate issues. Corporate issues came way later in the coalition government. Raila and Kibaki differed on the constitution, the Bomas draft versus Kilifi draft. But AMUNGA is sitting there, always ranting how he is history teacher. And you are a terrible teacher in history there. Because everybody knows the differences became on the principles of the Constitution. The Bomas draft, which gave us devolution, and the Kilifi draft, which was taking the gains of devolution out of the Constitution.
Exactly.
And that is what Raila rallied the people and said, this is a no. And they were not even thrown out. Immediately, the referendum ended in 2005. They walked out of that cabinet and they started organizing themselves to go for 2007 election. And you're having someone in studio insulting Raila all through and threatening KURIA for insulting Musalia. I mean, who told you where you can't be beaten? That KURIA is the only one who can't be beaten. So very silly. Thank you.
Okay, wacha nisikutusi.
Good morning, Bunga la Mwananchi. Bunga la Mwananchi.
Good morning, Gerald.
Good morning to you. How are you?
Gerald.
Jambo.
Jambo. So, thank you so much for having me this morning on the show.
Most welcome.
My name is Dennis.
Yes, Dennis.
Thank you for the great discussion that you're having this morning
I
about
appreciate
of this country, where we are, and where we are headed.
Yes.
I have a few questions, especially for Salomon KURIA, or a few comments to make about Salomon KURIA.
Okay. And please raise your voice a bit. Raise your voice a little bit.
Okay, KURIA, I like the fact that you're taking your space as a young person to speak about the kind of future that we want.
Yes.
But I would appreciate if you speak about that future objectively, with having really clear roadmaps that will give spaces and more jobs to the people of this country than just spewing comments that can be easily construed as hatred. Number two, on the history. History has a very good place in each and every country on this world. We learn the very good things about our past to know where we are going. We also learn not the very good things about our past to inform our next decisions going ahead. But how comes it's only one person who was the history of this country? He's not recorded anywhere.
Okay.
How comes that it's just Honorable Raila Odinga, who seems to know so much about this country that we can't get it in the book? Could it be just his own makings as well?
Okay.
I mean, we need to critique what he's saying as well. We can't take it for gospel truth. Take, for instance, what he said yesterday, that Western Hotel was part of, I don't know what.
It's part of Uru
Gardens.
Exactly. And when I look across there was an Uchumi before you get to Sunshine School, before you get to prisons, before you get to Langata, and then to Western. How about the lands in between? You know? Does it mean, how true is that?
Maybe they're all part of it. So maybe now we need to understand how the other ones disappeared.
Exactly.
China's
now,
boys.
that's the question. Why? And that's what I'm saying.
There's also a bar there, 18.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or maybe he passed by 1824 and he took something and forgot the rest in between.
Baba is clean. He doesn't.
So this is what I'm trying to say. Let us be objective about the things that we evaluate.
Okay.
We should not take history for our convenience. And I want to make a running call to both AMUNGA and Solomon.
Please pick the one of them.
2022 election a defining moment for this country. Can we vote based on the best interest of us and our children's future?
Okay.
Not just by who the people who broke up power in this country say they are good. Let's lay all the leaders from Ruto to Raila and any other presidential candidate and ask ourselves who has the best interest for this country. Not because of their second name, but because really they think about the prosperity of this country. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. So powerful. Unajua tangu niame kama hujaenda, unajua tangu niame siasa, niligundua kumbe maisha na unaweza pumua vizuri. Hi, have a good day, sir. Yeah. Angona. Mimi nilitoka. When did you see me beating people? Umeniona mara ngapi nikikata jasho nikisema don't deserve that. When did you last see me? Hiyo mchezo nilifanya 2017 na nikafunga. Nikasema hapo ndio mwisho. Kwa sababu sasa niliona tena inaanza geuka, waanze kusema tena nipige huyu jamaa anaitwa Unye na siku ile tulikuwa na support yeye.
But I like the advice from the guy. I didn't get his name correctly. But I would like to
Dennis.
Yes, I come from Nyandaro, and the proximity of Nyandaro to Naivasha is just like from my home to Naivasha is like 10 kilometers. You know, Moi Road in Naivasha was one day part of Lake Naivasha. Unless if you try to tell anyone in Naivasha, a young person like me or below my age, that Moi Road was part of Lake Naivasha, they will not believe it.
Okay.
All those hotels today along the Moi Lake Road, what we like calling Lakeside, were all occupied by the lake. If you tell people that, they won't believe. So it's also good to know that those who are there, know that Weston was part of Uhuru Garden.
But they said it was part of KA or it moved again
and all those other structures that could be there. Are we together? So or even where we are sitting right now could be part of something in the past.
Okay.
So it's good. The way we rush to rubbish and say, and you are not there, you have not.
No, they're just criticizing because
you see, he's telling you.
It's good to ask questions.
He's telling you one day Western, and I actually said Western and Langata Primary were part of Uhuru Garden. Because
why did he choose the two properties?
If you look at Uhuru Gardens, and you are told at some point it had 10,000 liberators who were taken there to that concentration camp. So how in terms of structures, where can 10,000 people fit in that small garden today? So it means it was a bigger space. Perhaps it was grabbed, or sometimes government decided to convert to some commercial land. But saying that Weston was part of Uhuru Garden, he didn't say that anybody grabbed. He did not go ahead to say that they did not buy. But he said Weston and Langata Primary were part of Uhuru
This is the
Gardens.
convenience of the two properties. Why the convenience in mentioning the two properties?
They are
And
popular.
maybe how did they end up with KA? How did they end up in KA? Because they said also Weston was part of KA. So which exactly?
You see, Gerald, if I choose to say 18...
So we have to agree. If it was political, let's agree it was political. If it was history, let's agree it was history.
No.
We have to choose one. We cannot have two.
You know, even in history, it is also in history, and the owner of Weston Hotel has come out clean and said that I'm not the first buyer of this place. So I have come to realize that the first owner had issues. He was not allocated the land in the normal procedure. So we all know that Weston has issues. So he was mentioning to make us understand that Weston was really part of Uhuru Gardens. Are we together? This is part of history, Gerard. When I told you that some people are blocking history. Some people are blocking history with a motive that they are not, uncovered. They are covering a lot.
History with convenience.
History is very important.
History of convenience. But I want to say something.
AMUNGA.
You see, sometime back, recently in Nakuru, the president said something like, ati mzee alisema nini kuhusu wazee kwamba you could be young. It's not a marathon. So I don't know if it's a sprint or
it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
You know. And he was
utaisha pumzi hapo mbele. Mzee anatembea polepole atakupita.
But you see, the truth of the matter is that we have many young people like KURIA right now who think even before, they think much ahead. History is good, but they can't live in that history past. History is good for wazee ukumbuka. You know, that's what we normally say. Wazee wanakumbuka really? But now when wazee ukumbuka and forget Russia hospital in 1969, when wazee ukumbuka and forget how Tom Mboya was killed on the streets of Nairobi, and nobody mentions it. When wazee ukumbuka and only remember only Western Hotel and forget Sunshine School,
Langata Cemetery,
forget whatever.
Langata Cemetery, who grabbed?
I won't go into that. I don't have that. Which Langata Cemetery?
He's also forgetful, you see.
Langata Cemetery. Nobody grabbed Langata Cemetery.
Kuna mtu alipora makaburi Kenya hii.
No, you see, those are the, you see, KURIA.
You don't want to talk about that?
No, I can talk about it.
Yeah?
Let me talk about it.
And what Mudavadi did?
No,
you can say that.
Now, can you allow me to talk?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, was Langata Cemetery grabbed? Did somebody build a hotel there or a nightclub?
No, I'm saying makaburi.
Has somebody grabbed it?
Kuna mtu aligrab makaburi.
Has somebody ever grabbed it?
Let's continue, guys.
No, I was going on. When he brought in something, I don't know, Langata Cemetery was grabbed.
Okay, let's proceed.
I want to ask Kenyans, have you gone to Langata Cemetery and found it is grabbed? It is still there. So when somebody tries to bring that is what we call politics of hate, politics of division, politics of kuchochea watu, because Langata Cemetery as I speak is still there. I was there recently to bury a friend. Nobody has grabbed it. And if there was any issue about it, I think it went to court and somebody must have been actually taken responsibility. And that person was also Musalia Mudavadi. I was just saying that history of convenience cannot really help even the young people. The young people are also swift and they want to take over power. Young people like this KURIA, not Moses KURIA, this Solomon KURIA is a pale shadow of Moses KURIA. This KURIA needs to be a person who can now think as a young person. We have to think future. We can't think about the past. The past of Kenya by the way is horrible. Actually, the history of Kenya ni maumau, ni sijui watu kwa kambi, ni vita, ni post-election violence. There is nothing good in our history as Kenya. Our Kenyan history is about bloodshed. There is nothing nice to learn from history of Kenya. I have taught history for almost 20 years. And I want to tell Kenyans, there is nothing sweet. The only sweet thing about history of Kenya is when our flag went up and the Union Jack came down. From there, it has been a shenanigans.
So that's
it has been political fights, and I have to talk, and I finish. It has always been about people fighting each other. It has been about people killing each other, assassinations. JM Karaoke, Tom Mboya. There is nothing nice in our history that our young people can learn from 10 years from now. Our history has been bad. The only good thing about our history is that we got independence. Unfortunately, the independence we got, ilikuwa independence ya bendera peke yake. Koloni mamboleo has continued to be here. And that's why 2022 must be a year of changing this country. Changing from just the historical past. We must untie ourselves as Kenyans from those narratives of Raila of, who did what, the Kapenguria 6, in fact, many of us were not even born when those Kapenguria 6 did. And even when they came out, many of them died poor. So we don't even need it. We don't need this history. We need a person to tell us the future of this country. And that's why I'm supporting Mutahi Kahiga, the governor for Nyeri, who said, if you want to know the dark history of Kenya, where Kenya has come from, why our economy is bad, why our debts are big, why our people have no jobs, is because of our history as Kenya. History of corruption, history of hate, history of post-election violence. There is nothing good in the history of Kenya. Let us now look for the future. Let us get a president, a young man or a young woman who can lead this country to prosperity, not some old wazes to bring us wazee ukumbuka.
Right, as we go home, I think this should be the last show of the year. Because I don't think I'm ready to get more fireworks pre-Christmas. All right, but the move by the president to breach the protocol and invite Raila Odinga to speak after him, we've never seen it happening anywhere before. I've not seen the president doing that before. He did it. Was that a continuation of his post endorsement?
You can read it as so, and I've seen most people reading it as so, as it's an endorsement. But really, before he invited him, he said, "It's not me who want you to speak. It's these people who want you to speak."
Okay.
And he gave him a minute. And it is something I really would want to see even in future. The next president, if you have someone who has really supported you in your endeavor to give development to people, there is no harm in giving him an opportunity to speak or recognizing him and appreciating his presence in such an event. If I was President Uhuru Kenyatta, and I know wherever he is sitting, he knows how much Raila has done for him. In 2017, there were only two people who are vying for presidency.
Okay.
And that was Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. Uhuru Kenyatta gathered around 8 million votes. Raila Odinga gathered approximately 7 million votes.
Okay.
So you can see the kind of following these two people have. You can see the kind of following they have. They enjoy it.
Okay.
And now one is saying, no, I do not approve, your election. You are not elected in the right way.
Okay.
So the court also supports the fellow who emerged second and says there were irregularities. So the president goes back to the race alone. Then Raila says, I'm going to swear in myself as the people's president. You see, there's a distinction. You're not swearing in yourself as the president of the Republic of Kenya, but as the people's president. Yet there's a very thin line between the two. So that was inviting chaos
Sorry.
into the country. But again, I remember where I was that day on March 9th. I was actually sitting down with the CA Zakinodi at some point. We were having some tea here. So we saw on TV. And I told him, actually, this must be from the archives. The TV set, the TV station could have gone to the archives and got this photo of Raila and Uhuru shaking hands. But he told me, no, this one looks live. So we told the waiter, can you add some volume so that we hear what is happening? And all of a sudden, it's them out. So he said, so what are we going to do? So he said, no. We are the supporters of the president. And therefore, we really have to continue supporting what he has decided.
Okay.
Gerard, when you are given the sword, it is not like when you are looking for it.
Okay.
No. There's a difference. When you are looking for it, you would do all manner of things. You would even say, these are my supporters. You would invest on your supporters. But once you get the sword, you invest all your thinking, all your might to all Kenyans, not just a few who are supporting you. That is what the president did.
But he had a sword in
And
2013.
everything. And
Or it was not a sword.
everything. You know, in 2013, the court declared that the elections were free.
He
and
had a
fair.
sword between 2013 and 2017.
Yes.
During 2017 elections, he had a sword.
There were no such challenges. Did we have anyone swearing in himself in 2013? Did we have the courts nullify the elections? No. The situation was very different. You have a person who is saying, I was elected president and not you. You also have the court supporting the person saying that he was elected. But then you have reached to a point where the person has given in and now you are having a negotiation. You are having, a dialogue. You are discussing. Gerard, I've always told people, when you become president, please rule in your own ways that you deem better.
Okay.
Leave President Uhuru Kenyatta to rule the way he wants. Because if he wants to unite the country, and here you have a contender who was number 2, first runs up, and he is here saying, I want to support your development agenda. Why wouldn't you recognize such a person? So it was not really an endorsement. This was appreciation. And I very much think that if His Excellency, the Deputy President, just lowered the political temperatures, stopped going around the country. Can you imagine a situation whereby now the deputy and the president and Raila Odinga are not into the active politics? They are focusing on development day in, day out. Where would we be? This is something I would want to even see in future. You will hear about America today. Nobody mentions about the potential candidates in 2024. But believe you me, once we get to 2024,
We'll already be having candidates.
you will start hearing. But today, what is happening? You're not hearing about Biden and Kamala Harris. You're not hearing the active politics. We take that break of about 4.5 years to do development to our people. Then in the 6 months to elections, we campaign. I think it's enough.
Amunga, tukienda nyumbani.
Yeah. My friend KURIA spoken well towards the end, but he keeps confusing himself, but he has spoken well because that's what exactly we've been saying. Uhuru Kenyatta has put this country in a campaign mode, guessing mode, confusion mode. Mm-hmm. I tend to think the reason even what you saw at Uhuru Gardens during Jamhuri Day, Uhuru has specialized in confusing Kenyans, so that they don't focus on the issues that affect them.
Okay.
You know, ni kama akona dawa ya siasa. Anajua vile anadunga wa Kenya siasa, alafu wa Kenya wanasahau wamelala njaa. You know? Because like kama hiyo vitu alifanya of breaking the protocol and bringing Raila. You know, that will make people like KURIA here very excited. Even if they are hungry, they have no jobs, they have nothing to eat. To them, oh, Raila ameongea. That's now something. You know, they feel excited. We have so many Kenyans like that who eat siasa, sleep siasa, drink siasa, and they forget, as what he's saying, development. In Germany, the chancellor, the lady who was just outgone, you will not have known. One time I was in Germany, and sorry,
but you don't say.
Excuse me. I was in Germany. It was an election week, and there was a winner. The lady was the new chancellor, the Angela Merkel. You know, she was the new, like the president. Sorry, I don't know what has happened to me. So what happened is this: when Angela Merkel was taking over and being sworn in, the rest of the country was going on as if nothing had happened. KURIA, I want to say something as I wipe my nose. Say something.
So I'm really sorry. There's an outbreak here, homa kidogo. So it's okay. But let me say, Gerard, in 2022 there will be an election, but I want to challenge all those people who are out here challenging the president that he has put the country into a political mood. It is a fact, and you heard it from the horse's mouth, that there has been more development in second term than there was in the first term. And being a person who has walked to those sites myself, I've walked to a majority of them, and I'm sure I cannot finish. I can tell you most projects have been achieved between 2017 and now 2021. Most roads have been constructed. Bigger projects. So because there has been peace. Some of these projects take forever because there are politics in them. Somebody just moves to court to just stop a project because of political end. So there has been more development in second term than there was in first term, because first term was full of politics.
No, actually there's been very little development. Very little. But what we can say is that in this country, what we see is more of politics. Politics is like medicine, it's like opium. Somebody said opium, religion is the opium of the people. In Kenya, opium of the people is politics. So we are so excited that Raila has spoken, and he's spoken nothing. You know, he says something about Uhuru Garden and the Western Hotel, and then we get so excited, we trend it for the whole 2 weeks. And you know, he spoke nothing. It doesn't add value to our house, to our lives. It doesn't pay our rent, doesn't do anything. Actually, the politics of Raila and the politics which Uhuru Kenyatta keep engaging Kenyans in are not politics that add value to us. They are politics of dividing us. You see, when the president calls a person like Raila to speak, and Musalia is seated there, and Ruto is sitting there, he's trying to do something called divide and rule. I call this one, let him talk. Then what happens now to Raila? Musalia has supporters. His supporters are just seated there and saying, their leader is saying he's not allowed to speak. Kalonzo is there, he says nothing. So we are saying as Kenyans, can we have our president manage his succession?
But there's Champions League and there's Europa.
Let him manage his succession.
Musalia wako Europa League.
Haya, tunafunga. Thank you so Cyrus Rintari, if they are so serious with history, then let's KURIA and this party implement that Ndungu and TJRC report. Life of a model, blackmail.
That's a good point.
You don't need history, but you are mwalimu history. Okay, okay. Does it mean that KURIA and team have realized that history is good for 2021, and yet in 2013, 2017, we're against it, even gave Baba other names? Okay, Kenneth Mayo. Please tell Mr. Kuria to campaign for Raila instead of posting nonsense every time. All right. If NC if NC party was to lead us to run, if NC party leader Madividi was to run against Atwale will beat him terribly. AMUNGA to respect Raila. Okay.
Exactly. Yes.
Zakiel says Korea and teams are profiling the Kalenjin community. We know why. They are looking for a shortcut at getting back to power. They know Ruto will do 10 years straight. They know Raila will not. Okay. Who else is here? If we go by unaided history, the Azimio La Umoja think should be worried then. Okay. What else is here? Musalia Mudavadi, that's politics of giving wheelbarrow help Kenyan. Okay. I think wheelbarrow is a symbol of a party, just like oranges. I don't know if we've been going or giving hands. So Jubilee has not been giving out hands. So sometimes I think this politics of symbols is so petty.
They started saying about the wheelbarrow being
a symbol of
they
work.
were giving out wheelbarrows. They stopped.
As a symbol of work.
They stopped.
Mutage Davis, General, please ask Kuria why the handshake became necessary in 2018 and not 2013. Robert Mukundi, and in Kenya, the president steals 2 billion daily. Musalia Mudavadi, yes, in America, there is no active politics. This is my brother in America. John Mamsha, Solomon Kuria is inciting reckless spinning propaganda just for pay. I'm sure he is. Adnos is lying, but his stomach just him to go on. Okay, Morite Joram. So 2023, if Raila won't concede, he has to be included in the government. What kind of reasoning is this, Kuria? Rabandegwa, can you ask about what Murada said? I think it was on opposition. Kaduri Samuel Gasheno. Do these people know how many votes difference between Biden and Trump? Mashare, can you greet my friend Solomon? Okay, but that's Mashare Kidega saying I to you. Paul W. Muya. So why didn't Uhuru extend the handshake in 2013? Okay, Wilfred Odiambo.
So can we respond to that?
No, time is out. We will respond next time. Okay, it's been a pleasure having you guys, and I want to speak to you. We've done this show, all this time we've spoken. We've talked about the issues of the country, and I want to assure you that the more things change, the more they remain the same. You'll be shocked at how you guys will be talking next year. In the same panel, in the same country, with the same politicians. Yes, exactly. I just want to tell you, these are the lessons I've learned myself. One thing I tell you is that in 2022, there'll be a government. There'll be a new president. It will be a Kenyan. It will be anybody within the lineup that you've seen. It will be a human being. It will be a Kenyan, none of us. And the country will continue. The chances that your life will change is very minimal. I was within Jubilee. Solomon Kuria. Yes. Even this guy was in Jubilee when we were doing the campaigns in 2017, 2013. And it was one of the most aggressive campaigns. To imagine that one day today, that Solomon Kuria would be standing in for ODM and Raila Odinga, it's unimaginable. And I respect that. Imagine that this guy will be in ANC and he was with William Ruto in Tangatanga. It's unimaginable. So I just want to tell you guys that the more things change in this country, especially in politics, the more they remain the same. Let's not take it at art. Politics ni mchezo, ni kandanda tu. Usiweke kwa roho, weka kwa mapavu, ukipumua basi inatoka na hivyo. So let's not personalize politics. As we get to 2022, it'll be interesting to have these gentlemen again in a panel next year before the elections comes in. As things change and swing, as the pendulum keeps swinging, it's like a clock. The hand keeps moving. So see you again, guys. Take care. Thank you so much, my brothers, for coming in. Let's keep the conversation going. I always say this, that this country will change with conversations. The more we speak about the issues that affect us, the more we talk about the future of this country, the more we interrogate the present, the more we're able to prepare for it, and the more we need to shape a better country. But I want to challenge each one of you to ensure that we live a better country, not for us, but for our children. I like what Obama said, that this country, we've not inherited the world. We've been given as a responsibility for the future generations. So it's not our world. We're preparing it for other people. This is a tackle, and it ends now. Bye-bye, and see you tomorrow.